How is everyone doing today? And in this video, we are going to be talking about the developer notes that we did end up getting, or I guess you could say future plans that we are getting in Pokemon Pocket TCG. And we all love how they love to give us stuff or news in the middle of the night when everyone's not looking at their phones or on the PC or anything like that. But today we are going to be talking about the future update plans, which has a lot of exciting stuff, especially when looking at we're getting new cards. We're going to be seeing a brand new set before the end of the year, which is very exciting because that means there's less than a month away from us getting a brand new set. Of course, looking at all the cards that we have currently at the moment, it is going to be nice to see some new cards come in, whether it be new supporter cards, new teams in general, or new decks, just because right now there seems to be only 2 to 3 decks right now that are being spammed across all of TCG, which is of course Mewtwo, a Gardevoir, all the different iterations of the water deck, and of course Pikachu EX. I think all the other decks right now are currently either taking a little bit too long to get their power up to where they need to be able to KO everybody else, or they just don't get the chance to set up because those 3 decks I mentioned have so much power at the start of the game, especially the water decks because of Misty, which is luck based, but is going to be something that is notable, that they have a lot of power, whether they are very quick to build up when it comes to having Misty, or just overall the amount of power they have with characters like Starmie and Blastoise sometimes, and Articuno especially. And then you have Pikachu EX with the lightning deck. Pikachu, for the most part, has a lot of energy efficient cards in its deck, and Pikachu itself is a steamroller immediately at the start of the game, especially if you get a good amount of cards to let you draw a good amount of basic Pokemons. But realistically, looking at the cards that we might be getting in the future, it is going to be very exciting. And then not only that, we also are going to be looking at the feature that allow us to trade certain cards to trade in 2025 of January. So that means we are less than 2 months away from getting the trading option inside the game. Now, there are going to be something that we do have to look at when it comes to this future update plans, which is going to allow certain cards to be traded in January 2025. And we are planning to gradually expand the selection of cards that are able to be traded. So that means at the start of the game, or the start of the trading session, when we start getting the trading option in the game, it seems that there are going to be a select few cards or a certain group of cards that will be allowed to trade, which means I'm 100% thinking that a lot of the crown rarity cards, or possibly even the full arts, may not be able for us to go ahead and trade out. They might allow us to go from what I would assume the EX cards and below, instead of the full arts, and also looking at the crown rarity cards that are in the game at the current moment, possibly even the supporter full art cards like the Sabrinas, the Giovannis, those full art cards. I'm assuming that those specifically might not get touched, just because those might be like the super rare cards, and like everyone wants to get those cards. So of course, anybody who pulls dupes, they don't want them like flooding the market with those, even though there is no resale value or any price associated with those cards specifically. So it is going to be very interesting to see how they implement the trading function in January with the group of cards that they will allow. Like I said, they might go from normal EX cards all the way down to the rarity at the lowest tier, and leave anything above just a regular EX card to be like all the full arts to be non-tradable. They might expand that as soon as newer EX cards come out, so it doesn't really matter. So we'll have to wait and see how that works out. I definitely have like 7 full art Mewtwo's that just want to keep popping up for some reason, that I 100% am willing to trade out for some Gardevoirs, because I haven't gotten one. That's why I can't even run the Mewtwo deck. So I am definitely excited for the trading option, especially with being able to pull as much as I do when it does come to that. I do have a good amount of full art cards that I can trade away for some cards. So hey, it'd be really cool if y'all could give a sub, comment, like, all the different type of stuff, so that in the future when they do add trading, we can start putting that into a system where maybe in the comments I'll be like, one person that, you know, has this card, let me know so that I can trade with you, we can add each other, and then you get a full art card and I get a Gardevoir or something like that. I think it's going to be a really good step into being able to build out decks, especially if you can start getting these little cards that you don't have to spend pity points on. We also have to see how they're going to implement it in terms of a limit, because I'm pretty sure they're going to add some type of level restriction to this, just because if you think about it, somebody could easily re-roll a billion accounts and just wait to see what cards they get and trade it onto their main account, which most likely, I really want to see how that's going to work out. So most likely there's going to be a level limit. Most likely there's going to be a cooldown as well, from what I would expect. Probably like every day you could probably trade one card so that you're not spamming cards into your account or something like that. And I don't know what else they could do to implement some type of cooldown that is going to be too restrictive to the trading process, but we're gonna have to wait and see how that's going to work out. Another thing that is going to be nice to see, that they are developing other features outside of the trade feature, which is really nice. So that means the game is only going to get bigger and even more expanded as time goes by. I can't wait to see, hopefully out of the side, the training or the trading feature, that we get some type of ranked mode for PvP. That way, for those players that want to go ahead and grind PvP as much as they do, especially for people like me, it would be really nice to be able to have ranks and have seasons go by where every so often they reset everybody down back a tier or two and you start grinding back up all the way to the top and have some rewards associated, like a pretty limited card or something like that, which would be really nice in my honest opinion. But of course, there is some feedback that they are looking towards, which some people actually drop some in the comments inside the post itself. Looking at it, some people are actually talking about the turn 1 and turn 2 discrepancy inside Pokemon Pocket TCG, which is the turn 1 and turn 2 situation, where it seems like turn 2 was a little bit OP compared to turn 1, and turn 1 specifically seems to not have a lot of value when you do end up getting it. Of course, there is one exception, is that you may have a Misty on turn 1 and they might have no bench Pokemon on the other side of the field. So that means if you have Misty and you get lucky, you may one-shot them potentially, depending on which Pokemon you're fighting. Usually if you get 3 energies with a Misty and you use Blizzard on Articuno, you're practically winning that battle no matter what. Like, that's a guaranteed one-shot kill for the whole entire battle. Or you can go into 2 energy against a fire Pokemon and use the Blizzard Wing or whatever that move is called, and that one shots as well. So there is certain aspects to turn 1 if you are using a water deck that can prove advantageous if you get lucky, but that is just one deck, and that is also just one card, and that's also thinking if you get lucky. So turn 1 realistically isn't that great for a lot of decks besides the water deck with Misty in hand. So looking at turn 1 and turn 2, it seems like there's just a little bit too much value on turn 2 side, which I can slightly agree as well. I do think, if I am not wrong, in the actual TCG for Pokemon, for turn 1 you are allowed to go ahead and put an energy on your Pokemon, but I don't think you're able to attack immediately. There is certain situations in games like Yu-Gi-Oh where turn 1 is actually the better turn, even though you get, I think, 1 less card in comparison to the hand of the other guy, which for turn 1 it makes sense in Yu-Gi-Oh because you can set up a board filled with traps or filled with negates that stop certain cards from activating on the other side of the field. So it kind of allows you to, although you're pulling less cards, it does, and you're also not able to attack, it does allow you to go ahead and negate and block certain things to happen on the other side. So that's why turn 1 has its value in Yu-Gi-Oh, while in TCG you kind of lose all your value on turn 1 because you don't get energy and you're not allowed to attack, of course, because you don't get that energy. While turn 2, not only do they get their first energy, they're also allowed to attack. So right now it does seem like turn 1 does need a little bit of something else, because there's currently only one deck in the game that can function properly on turn 1. And of course, if you get the Misty on your hand, which is kind of upsetting for most decks. A lot of decks, for the most part, don't get to enjoy that free energy at the start and just have to take that free damage that usually comes from the turn 2 side, especially if they bring out like a stage 1 Pokemon or some Pokemon that has 1 energy cost versus a lot of the other 2 energy cost Pokemon in the game. But realistically, it's really nice to see that we have transparency from the devs, talking about a lot of the brand new game modes that are coming out, talking about a brand new set that is coming out, which is very exciting. And then not only that, also looking towards the trading feature and many more to come, which it seems nice to see that they're also paying attention to community, looking at the comments, talking about what changes they should make in the game, while also letting us know what's happening down the line. Really good stuff. I cannot wait to see what they're going to bring in terms of new cards, and I will be covering them all when they end up coming out and making new decks for y'all to see. I will have another deck for y'all to look at tomorrow in terms of something new that I haven't covered already on the channel. So make sure you leave a like, comment, sub, all that different type of stuff if you are excited for daily Pokemon TCG videos, because I'm enjoying this game so very much. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching all the way to the end. See y'all in the next one, and peace.